Tonight on the Cooligans, we will be joined by MLS Cup champion Rodney Wallace.
That's right. The Tico's here with us.
Okay.
He also brought some CBD, which is kind of dope. So, hopefully this will relax the pain of growing up without a father.
Oh, that's what. Yes, Rodney Wallace, the therapist, is here with us. So all this and more today on the
Cooligans! Yeah, baby!
Let's go. Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's introduce the new dance that the kids are doing.
What are you doing?
I don't know, but I've seen.
And guess what? Neither do we.
I've seen TikTok videos. Okay.
I think I interrupted two girls doing a TikTok video. They were doing the same dance.
It was 2 Girls, 1 Cup on TikTok?
Yeah, I was the cup, dude. It was disgusting. No, they were all doing the same dance, and I walked by. I'm like, what's going on over here?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We are the Cooligans. My name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
All right. We are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer show that you have ever seen.
That's right. And very rarely do I say this, but we're also the gulliest.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's been so long since you've said that,
Yeah.
Alexis.
I feel like I don't say that every single time because I do say it every single time because we are the gulliest. We're right behind you.
You need to be reminded.
That's me running down the block.
Nah, man, I am absolutely thrilled about tonight's show
It's incredible.
because it's always lovely when players come through here.
Who's hoisted trophies?
Yes, we haven't even met many people that have hoisted things.
No. Right? There's the EMT who picked me up that time I was roofied. A bit of a hoisting situation.
He hoisted you.
At a certain weight, it's no longer picking up. It is hoisting. He didn't have to hold me over his head and kiss me as he ran around. I thought I was a little rude. Not a trophy, my guy. Put me down. I have been roofied.
Yes, that's we'll save that story for another day.
Yeah.
But yes, we are excited about today's show and today's guest.
Absolutely.
This man, played Sporting Kansas City, NYCFC, Portland Timbers.
Costa Rica national team.
Exactly. Been to a World Cup.
And now finally he gets to honor his career by being on our show.
Don't forget DC.
That's right.
Oh,
Also DC.
DC.
I heard from
a
a little birdie, the Maryland legend himself. Put your hands together unless you're driving for the one, the only Rodney Wallace, everybody.
Rodney.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Of course,
Pleasure.
DC legend.
DC.
We wouldn't
Come
forget
on,
that.
bro.
We were just waiting. Dude.
Rodney, thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me, guys, for sure.
It's absolute honor, right? I feel like at least for us, the first time we got to really see you play up close regularly was when you were with NYCFC. You came from the Portland Timbers at that point, I believe.
Beloved by the Portland Timbers. We heard treat them well.
That's hard. That's love right there.
Yeah.
That's love. Green and gold.
Even one of our biggest fans, a guy by the name of Igor Mortis.
Igor Mortis.
Yeah, tattoo artist.
Igor Mortis. I got Igor. That's my guy.
Yeah.
We're bonded for life.
Yeah.
And
All right.
because of the tattoo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what else happened?
Yeah.
Baby,
It was just the tattoo.
let me put tattoo.
It was just the ink on the arms,
It's all
nowhere
good.
else.
It's
Yeah.
No, but he's incredibly talented. He was one of the first people, one of the first Timbers supporters, Timbers Army that was showed us some love, and I think he was one of our first introductions to what the Timbers Army was really all about. So my first question.
He's a real one, yeah.
Yeah.
We actually stayed at his place when we were in Portland.
Really? Yeah,
he's
did
awesome.
you guys see the chickens? Did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys eat the eggs?
No, I think we did have for the one breakfast. He
Did
got
you
eggs
not?
from the
Maybe
chicken.
you didn't know.
No, he told us.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a couple
What
of
else
years.
did you eat over there?
Nothing else. Nothing that's illegal here in New York.
No, Igor, you're a good piece. Appreciate you.
Igor's the man.
Yeah.
So I want to start there. How about for your time with the Timbers and obviously getting to win MLS Cup there? What's it like playing? We have been to Providence Park. What's it like playing in front of the Timbers Army and playing for the Portland Timbers?
It's a magical place. I mean, to this day, I still get the chills every time I'm in the stadium. I mean, as soon as you walk in, you just feel the atmosphere. You feel that love from the fans, and it became even more of a home for me after we won the trophy, we won the MLS Cup. I think that just kind of it was a staple. Once you get that star on your jersey, I mean, it's a different feeling from the fans to the players. We've always had that connection because it's a community. It's not just Portland Timbers, the soccer, the football club. It's a community. Realistically, like we just talked about Igor. He tattooed me. We've had lunch. We've had dinners. He's been at my house. I mean, Igor is one of the most loyal fans, and he's also a good friend. And that's how it is. It's a family. For me, in Portland, the way that they embraced me, it was phenomenal. And then we went through, I'd say the fans and I went through a rough patch as teams do because of results, because of
every relationship goes through.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where we weren't talking for a while, and
team starts checking your phone.
You know what I mean? Like, what's up? What's
your password,
yo?
Who's this Teddy in your WhatsApp?
It's just the Timbers, man.
He's the kid,
It's
man.
just the Timbers. That's what at least it made me closer to them, because it was one of those things where I felt it, they felt it. It's a community, and then we turn things around, and you mature as a player and as a person, and you really see the big picture of what it really is, what it really means to be a Timber. And it's not just on the pitch; it's off the pitch, and having that knowledge and passing it on to the next players that would come in, and doing that, it made it so everybody was on the same page, and eventually we ended up accomplishing the one thing that we all wanted as a city, and that was to win the cup.
That's so dope.
Yeah, it's
fire.
I wanted to ask this because it's been on my mind for a while, and we bumped into you a couple times, but that MLS Cup, you scored in that MLS Cup against Columbus Crew.
Yes, sir.
Big game, but it was a very controversial call, right? Or non-call.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Supposedly.
It happened.
There was a ball that
They're still talking about it.
They're still talking about
but
it.
It happened. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I mean, was it out of bounds?
You're like, we can watch the tape again because look, it happened.
It was out of bounds. Perfect ball.
Yeah.
What, was I supposed to stop the play? I mean,
yeah, that is like if VAR would have been existed, I mean, yeah, maybe it would have been called back. Who knows, or whatever.
it would have been called back.
Okay.
Maybe not, but I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I still got beer thrown on me after the goal, so it doesn't change that. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know about that. I mean, I scored the goal. We went to celebrate in front of their fan section, that little triangle they have.
Yeah.
And
the Nordeck, I think it is.
yeah, that little space that they have over there.
He's saying little so disrespectfully.
The little section over there.
Cute little. Yeah, it's charm.
Yeah, right there.
Some would say, like a real estate agent would say it's charm.
It's charming.
Yeah.
But we went over there, celebrated, and just got cans thrown at us, beer, and it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt. I was like, oh well, I'm back in times over here. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
They were salty about that, and they're still are, as they should be. If you're a real fan, I mean, you should be salty that the ball was out of bounds. And
that passion swings both ways sometimes.
And we kept playing, but no, it was a phenomenal night for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll be back with more Rodney Wallace after this.
Yeah, that's right, baby. We back. We're here with Rodney Wallace. Now, Rodney, one of the things that you got to do, which is something that also we don't get a chance to interview a lot of people that have done this before, you got to play for your home country. You got to play for Costa Rica. I think you were at the game. I think, in fact, you sent the cross to Urena, the game we were at.
Urena,
Oh, yeah.
Urena.
At Red Bull Arena.
At Red Bull Arena.
Yeah.
It was the double header. It was
Honduras.
You versus Honduras, and it was before that. I think it was like French Guiana versus Canada.
Yeah.
And all 7 people that showed up for that, I think, had a good time. I think it was half the population of French Guiana, actually. Yeah, there was one guy chanting for Canada. I'm like, everybody relax. Don't throw your back out for this one, buddy. Yeah. Florian Maluta's playing. He's not even allowed to be here. This is all gonna get washed out.
Let him be.
Yeah, just chill. Let him kick the game. Let him kick the ball around a little bit while you sit down and relax, get a popcorn. But you got to play for your country. What's that like? Getting the chance to play for your country, getting a chance to play for Costa Rica. Some of the craziest, wildest, most hardcore fans we've ever met are Costa Rican national team fans that were sitting behind us and in front of us and next to us, so we were quiet. We were very quiet, but we went just to enjoy the match.
Yeah.
But like, you got a chance to actually play and put on the Tico shirt and all that. Yeah. Is that something that you've been hoping for and wishing for since you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Costa Rica, that's the big price right there. If you play soccer, which most kids do, you grow up playing on the street, you grow up playing wherever you can, you idolize those players, you idolize every single player in the league in Costa Rica, and then you watch the process as they're on a national team, and you know, those are your heroes, and they still are. I mean, I still get starstruck when I see when I see a player or that's a coach now, for example, and you shake hands with them and you're like, yeah, I mean, you are still the truth, you know, and you have that respect for them. The coach that we went to with the World Cup, Oscar Ramirez, he big star, you know what I mean? They call him El Machito. He was a big star, and it's funny to see how they were back then to then how they are now. I mean, it's been a bunch of years, so they're completely different people, but you still see them like as those players
in the air. I don't know if
that mullet. You know what I mean?
Funky haircuts,
a little bit skinnier. You know what I mean? But
that year jersey.
No, they were stars, and those were our stars. So you know, to be able to represent your country was a huge deal. It was also intimidating, especially for me, because I moved to Maryland when I was 10 years old. So I left Costa Rica, moved to Maryland, and all I wanted to be was a soccer player. So I came to the States, and I was looking for a soccer team, and I didn't know how it worked. You know what I mean? Because over there, you build yourself up to play for the younger teams of the academies now. You know what I mean? So I went to try out for a travel soccer team, and I didn't even have cleats. I had on Reebok sneakers. I had sneakers on, you know what I mean? And I was slipping all over the place, but
looking fresh though.
You know what I'm saying? But they knew I had something though. I said,
just posing.
Yeah. So
are you celebrating a goal you didn't score yet? I'm just letting you know.
I'm here. My shit's fresh. So no, it worked out. And then in 2011, I believe I got my first call up, and it was against the United States in Carson, California, and I ended up scoring on my debut. And you know, you can't write it anymore. You can't write it. You can't write it any better. So that was one of my highlights. That's one of my biggest moments, just because I was able to score versus the country that gave me so much, a country that has given me everything. So it was controversial in many people's eyes, but it was an experience for me because I didn't know any of the players. They didn't know me. I'd never played in the league in Costa Rica, so I was a stranger that just came just popped into the scene, and it's on the national team now. Yeah. But I deserved it because I was born in Costa Rica and I'm Costa Rican, and you know, I earned that. But it takes time for people to adapt to something new, to adapt to somebody they don't know, el gringo, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it took a while for me to adjust to that, and it took a while for them to adjust to me. But you know, now you looking back at it, it's all laughs because to be honest, when I first got there, I was shy, I was timid, and my Spanish, I feel like it was a different culture for me, regardless of what it was. Realistically, it was just different from what I was used to. For a lot of years, I was in America, so now I have to adapt to these guys that are all friends with each other, and you go there and
they all hang out with each other.
You can't,
can I Skype in or something?
Can I sit here? You know what I mean? Yeah. So no, but
the big challenge. I mean, like, I'm Dominican, and when I go back to the Dominican Republic, every gap, if it's 3-4 years that I go from the last time, it's the slang. the slang is new. They're all using all these new words. And I'm like, I haven't been in the streets. I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you talk. So I can imagine in a team, I'm like, yo, what? I speak Spanish, but I don't even know the words you're using.
You're like, I haven't updated my OS.
My software is just not there. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm on Que Lo Que 2.8.
See.
Y'all moved over to 5.0. I'm a couple behind.
Nah, yeah, but it's true. That's how it was. You had to reprogram your chip, and that's what happens to me every time. Because now, for example, I'm back and forth. And it's 100%. I mean, now it's fluid, but you have to change your chip automatically. It takes time to adapt to that, and then you have to understand the connections, the lingos. And no one's really clicky, but you have to adjust to a whole different situation.
It's like every little thing that makes you different becomes exaggerated.
But it makes you a better person.
When I talk to Cuban
for sure.
people from Cuba, I sound like I'm in the 70s because that's when my family left.
Yeah.
That's the language I learned. So now I'm talking. It's like I'm walking around like, what up, Jav, Turkey? They're like,
They're saying, no.
that ain't how right now, my guy. You need to go and button up the rest of your shirt, my dude.
I said, it ain't like that anymore, my guy.
Get your geriatric ass out of my face, dog.
He shows up with a fedora and everything.
One time, like, you need to. We off that.
Pero ¿qué pasó?
Spending a lot of your youth in the U.S. I think I've heard you say this publicly, but was there ever any? I don't think that you were considering playing for the U.S., but was anyone ever trying to like?
And that's kind of how it came about, because it was my rookie year at DC. I had a good rookie season, and you start to hear things, and then articles start to come up. Is he eligible for the U.S.? He's Costa Rican, so those articles get sent over there.
Yeah.
And so, there's a Costa Rican playing in the MLS. Can he play for our national team? So now it became that a bit of I'd say a bidding war type thing. And in my head, I'm like, whoa, like, what do I do? But you feel. You have that thing. You have it in your heart where you're like, I wanna live that childhood dream, like scoring a goal and seeing the way I celebrated when, for example, my cousin Rodney Wallace scored a goal or did a move. I envisioned that for myself, and I was like, I can't take that fire down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta put on for my people. So basically, it was one of those things where I was like, nah, whatever it is, I'm gonna go. And if I get the call up, I'm 100% gonna go.
Okay.
So,
That's how I am. When I picture eating pizza, I fold it. You know what I mean?
you're like, this is me.
I'm East Coast to the core. We got more Rodney Wallace when we get back.
All right, welcome back. Yes, we are still here with Rodney Wallace.
That's right.
Rodney, we were talking about Costa Rica and playing for the team. We were just in Costa Rica for NYCFC's CONCACAF Champions League match
Versus San Carlos.
Okay, speaking of it, with San Carlos, we thought the game was going to be in San Carlos. And
We almost drove 2 hours.
We almost drove 3 hours
for no reason.
For food, huh? Yeah.
I mean, that's what we would have done.
Where's the food at?
I'd be like, look, let's not take the full L. Let's just go eat over there, and we'll eat over there. We'll do 90 minutes of eating. 2 halves of 45s. We poop in the middle. Give ourselves more room.
And speaking of that, we were when we were going there. One of the first people we reached out to was like, "Yo, Rodney, we're going to Costa Rica. What should we eat? What should we be doing out there?"
We didn't say like want to hang out. We didn't say want to get a drink. We said, what do we eat?
They didn't even say hi. Yo, where to eat?
There was no vowels. Where eat? Question mark.
They're hungry right now.
Yeah.
So it's like the interesting thing. So you told us about La Pataconeria, which was a great place. If you're ever in Costa Rica, go to Pataconeria. It's absolutely
Christian's
delicious.
girlfriend was like, I just want fried plantains. She's on a very strict diet, but that she can eat. eat, and
She
I was
got
like,
the whole.
you took us to the mecca of fried plantains. It's hard to explain, but as many French fries as McDonald's has, they have discs of fried plantains.
Fire.
Yeah, so
It's so good.
Ideally, like a sandwich, but made with the bread is
Right,
the
some
plantain.
people say patagon pisao, but patagon is just fried plantains. But a lot of them are like in cup shape or flattened, or like it's like the crust of a pizza with food on top. It's just fried plantains everywhere. And he's Dominican,
And
so
you
he
can
was
put
happy.
whatever in them. It's
Yeah,
It was
They're
great.
good.
So it was a great suggestion. But another one that other people suggested, because speaking of matarrita, because people were like, oh, people were saying he eats this thing called caldosas. That was like the thing he grew up with.
he's from the south of Costa Rica, I guess, which
and-
is a bag of Doritos cut open. I'm not making this up, and they put ceviche.
Yeah. And you would think it's...
We're in. You had me at Doritos, by the way. You could have said anything. You could have said like, and then a small child farts in it. I'm like, I'll air it out a little bit.
let it out.
And then get with the Doritos.
But the Doritos okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Where you
They're
find
good.
all these gassy kids? What's in the water out here?
So it was, we were appreciative of the direction. Are there...
Did you try that?
The cardosas, yeah.
Yeah.
We actually found it. We were in San Jose.
With pepper and everything?
Yeah.
They said, do you want it spicy? And I think we got just a little bit because
We were in
more spicy
Santa
than he is.
Ana.
Okay,
In
Santa
Santa
that's
Ana.
where he's from, right?
Yeah. So it was...
No,
so-
actually, he's not. He's
no,
not.
he's from... Where is he from?
It's from a different saint. It's all saints down there. When they were naming the country, somebody had a Bible open or something. Everything San Jose, Santa Ana, Santo Cristo, Sancho Panza. It's all.
Do you tend to miss the food in Costa Rica, or is it? I mean, in New York, I'm sure there's options or similar things. Or
No, I do miss it, and that's the first thing I did when I landed was go to that exact same restaurant. And I was like, "Yo, these guys need to come check this out."
Okay.
And obviously, I over ordered, but that's natural, right?
Some
Because you
would
don't-
call it that. I wouldn't categorize it as such.
Some would call it a normal,
Right?
a normal amount of
In a
food.
moose bouche, if you will. Just a little prep for the palate.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't have that food. You can find it in United States, but it's not the same as when you're in Costa Rica. So you gotta go all out. And
Well, the difference between one thing I noticed about Costa Rican food is it's very similar. You have a Caribbean side, so it's very similar to Caribbean Latino food, which we have. And there are differences between Dominican food and Cuban food. Primarily, like, Cuban food is better. But then when you try like the Costa Rican version of these things, I'm like, oh look, another loser to Cuban food. It's just a little different. Like, oh, we win again! Wow, shouts to abuela. It's just the seasonings are a little different. So like, it's cool to try. Like gallo pinto is very similar to something we would call like arroz con gris. But it's just like the seasonings are a little different. The way it's cooked is a little different. So it's cool to try all these different levels. So yeah, you could probably get similar food, but you're like, this don't taste the same.
It doesn't taste the same as when you're there. Like, for example, like you said, the gallo pinto, it's just, you want to go and get it at that place where you just know where it's good. You know, either you go to your aunt's house or you go to La Cafeteria, you go wherever it is that they make it the right way. So every time I'm there, I try to just automatically hit those spots before I have to do whatever I have to do, because I know, it's always on the go in Costa Rica, but the food is the first thing that you got to do, right?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Right?
why are you looking at me? You know that's the answer. First, second, last.
When you moved to Maryland as a kid, was that like jarring that you couldn't get the same food, or was it noticeable, or was that even an issue?
No, well, I mean, I moved with my whole family, so my mom was just still
Crushing it.
doing
So
it.
your house was Little San Jose.
Just right there,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Desamparados, that's where I'm from. So, I mean, my mom's still killing it in the kitchen. So I couldn't complain. I grew up with the best food.
That's
and
awesome.
Now my wife is attempting to do the same. We're working on it as a family.
As a family.
Love you, babe. You know what I mean?
It's also because, like my grandmother taught my wife how to cook. My wife's Italian.
Yeah.
Taught her how to cook like arroz con pollo or like, roba vieja. And my grandmother's like grabbing her hand and being like, that much salt. Like, there's no scale. And she's like, give me a little white hand.
These two, two fingers.
Yeah. Slapping stuff out of her hand. And she's like, how? And she's like, doesn't speak a word of English. My wife doesn't speak Spanish. And she's like, pruébalo, coño. Try it. Does yours taste like mine? No.
Yeah, no.
Okay, you're wrong. We do like this.
Next.
It's like little by little, but now my wife knows how to make that food. It's sort of a connection to that culture. When you got a chance to sort of play for the national team and you came back to MLS as a Costa Rican player, did things change? Because confidence plays a big role, especially when you're like someone who's as far forward as you are on the field. Did that confidence give you a shift? Did it make you play better?
I think that the international stage just adds to your game. It makes you grow. I mean, the competition's higher. The speed of
He's getting choked up.
the speed of the game is just faster, and you adapt to different things. Traveling, whether it's the different cultures, so you grow as a person, which makes you grow on the field. And you have to survive. It's a survivalist mentality because you're there for such a short period of time that you have to perform. So you have no time to we have next week we have another match. No, you have to do your thing in the 90, there's 20 minutes, there's 30 minutes, there's 6 minutes that you get. You have to always prove a point, and you do it for yourself, but you're doing it because you want to come back and come back and collect as many caps as possible.
Is there like are you harder on yourself? You take a bad first touch, or you just is it easy to get in this negative slump or down on yourself when you make a mistake on that stage that can affect you can affect your future?
Man, I mean, depends on what depends how you're built, right? I mean, personally, it's I know I'm not perfect, so if I take a bad touch, it might feel different to them than it feels to the fans in the States. They might start whistling at you every time you touch the ball. So it's more on how they react than to how you react, because you're going to remain yourself. But there are some players that have had a rough time because they just have a terrible first 3 touches, and now the crowd is against them and they're whistling at you every time you touch the ball. So for me, it's just been stay locked into your game, do what you need to do. And I know myself, I know my game, and I know that if I take a bad touch, I have to either get it back or make up for it in some other way. It's different, but the crowds in different regions play a certain role. So you got to be ready for everything.
Is a thing.
I can't even whistle. I'm so jealous.
Yo, how do you do that?
You know what I mean?
His lips didn't even touch him.
And then
It's so loud. And I went to the Saprissa match against Montreal, and I was just
you know what was happening, right? You heard it.
Yo,
It's mad disrespectful. It's hilarious.
Yo, it gets in your head.
But is it disrespectful, or is it like they expect?
Yeah.
It is disrespectful.
Yeah, it is. We got more of Rodney when we get back. That's right, baby. We back. Still here with Rodney Wallace. Now, Rodney, our listeners and our viewers right now are kind of realizing you're kind of a chill dude, right? You're a relaxed guy, right? You take it as it comes, right? A bit of a sailboat, right? Wherever the wind blows, you know what I mean?
It is. It could be up. It could be down.
Right. But you're also an ultra competitive dude, right? You kind of have to be to have gotten as far as you've gotten. How do you balance those two out? Because when I picture someone who's ultra competitive, I picture pupils really dilated and in your face and type A. But you're kind of a bit more of a relaxed guy.
I mean, it took years to.
Anger management? What'd you go through?
I did time. No, it took years. I mean, it takes time. It's I feel like I've always been chill, and I do flip the switch on the pitch, but it takes time for you to really know yourself and to how to balance that out, and especially when you have kids. I mean, I have 2 girls, so patience is everything, you know what I mean? And once I had Ivy, it was okay.
That's your oldest.
That's my oldest. He's 5. Yeah, I see. You see the picture a little bit differently, you know what I mean? But, I mean, the game for me has been such a blessing that I take it as it comes, you know what I mean? I take the competition as it comes. It's something that I can't complain, bro. You know what I mean? I do get turned up for training. I get turned up for games, and I get turned up, whether I win or lose. We could still be talking about it in the locker room in training. You know what I mean? Just because it is what it is. You want to win, but at the end of the day, we're all boys. It's for example, Sean Johnson. If I'm let's say we're playing 5v5 and something like that, and and I'm busting his net, and I'm just scoring on him, and I'm talking smack to him, and I win. I'm celebrating that win because I earned that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if he makes that, he makes that big save or whatever, like he's gonna let me know. Yeah, like you can't get past this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. It's those are the things that really keep you in check, and you need to be able to know how to manage those emotions. And some players don't, and they're the best players in the world, and some players do, and they're amazing. But it's really about how you go about things. But the competitive edge for me is probably the number one thing. It's always been, oh yeah, he's going hard no matter what it is. So
were there any particular either derbies or matches or any rival teams that got you kind of hyped up a little bit more than others, whether it was maybe playing against Seattle, maybe playing against Red Bulls or whatever?
It was probably it was Seattle versus Timbers. Seattle was always you had that feeling. It was you knew it was a derby. You prepare the whole week. The result that happened the week before, it doesn't even matter. You scratch that, whether you won or you lost or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that whole week, you're preparing for that.
Right.
The fans are preparing for that. The fans are lining up at the stadium 3 days before the game even starts. You know what I mean? So you know it's real. And I had many battles with my boys. I had battles with Eddie Johnson, with Alonzo, with just different players. You're out there competing, and
but even if that's your friend on the other side, especially with Derby as historical,
matter,
for those 90 minutes, you don't care.
It doesn't matter. You don't care. You're saying whatever it is that you have to say.
Can you use something that you know about them, like, yo, you trash at the cookout? You know what I mean? You hit him a little bit.
Bring it out.
You gotta hit him. You hit him with personal facts, but nah, it's You have that different spark in a derby, especially when it means that much. I remember I scored against Seattle at home, and I gutted the fish. Gutting the fish is basically an expression. So I scored, and I went in, and it was the last goal to seal the game, and I went, and I was just like gutting this raw ass celebration. I was like, okay. And the fans went crazy. So to this day, it's like Rodney Wallace gutting the fish, and some people were like, oh my God, like it's so offensive, like it's a knife. And I'm like, I'm not holding nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not holding nothing. I'm just out here, I'm being gully. You know what I mean? So it was that's one of the good celebrations, good moments for us in the Timbers locker room for sure.
How is it from Seattle fans? Is there still tension with them or you, or is it now that you sort of haven't been in that situation over there?
I was in Seattle for the MLS Cup, and it's respect. You know what I mean? They'll
because you played well against them, so I'm sure there's respect.
They'll say something to you, but they're not disrespecting your mother or something like that. You know, at least not that there in public. But
I mean, they're not Costa Rican fans. It's a prisa.
Yeah. I wish I could whistle.
But they respect it because everybody respects the derby. You respect that Pacific Northwest. That whole vibe, Vancouver, Portland, the Cascadia thing is, you respect it. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, I remember that goal, but whatever, like pure class or whatnot, you know what I mean? But you also have to know your opponent, and Seattle has had many victories over us, and we've beat them, and it's gone back and forth in the playoffs. So that's 2013 playing away. I remember Ryan Johnson scored the first goal to start the series, and in Seattle that fire lights up after. You know what I mean? But actually, it was when they scored, and I was like this close to the fire, and I was like, oh, that shit almost burned my face, bro. You know what I mean? But like, it's stuff like that makes the MLS exciting. Having Timber Joey at the game with the.
It makes it different.
It just makes a difference because people see that, and people say, you know what, that's the atmosphere that we want. But it's nice that teams like the Timbers are setting the tone, and teams are packing stadiums like that. So that's exactly what this day and age the game is that's what it's about. Entertain and the quality of the game. I mean, it's more than just the players on the field now. You know what I mean? To be honest, it's like it's a whole package, and that gets the players going.
Can we be a part of that?
Yeah.
You guys are you are a package.
We're something. It's a package you shouldn't open. Someone left it in the mall.
We'll be back with more after this, guys. here with Rodney Wallace, and I want to ask, we should talk about what's going on now. I know you were playing with Sporting Kansas City and dealing with some injuries, and then also we should talk about this that's on the table right now.
Rewind.
Because I've been, if anybody follows Rodney Wallace on Instagram, the CBD is strong.
We're starting to see why you're so chill.
It's all making some sense. So let's talk about a little bit what's going on and the CBD company that you started.
Yeah, so I started Rewind CBD. It's THC free CBD. It's high premium. I have come up with something that I personally believe it's helpful for the players because of what it did for me. So I wanted to come up with a product that, was gonna represent our culture in the best way possible without having to worry about the drug test and the doping and the stigma of CBD. Like, I wanted to get away from all that and say, you know what, I'm gonna make the cleanest, purest product out there, and I'm going to do it for them, for the rest of the players, for the rest of the people. I wanted to make something that was going to make them feel how I felt when I was going through my injuries. And I mean, honestly, this has been life-changing for me. It's given me a much better quality of life. I
was just gonna say, like, it's wild. I don't know much about CBD, but it's like every time I've ever used it, it's like one of those things where you don't know if it's working. I can't tell anything.
But
I don't
it's
know.
probably because you haven't been using the right product.
Okay.
I remember. Maybe you should rewind and use the right product.
Okay.
I remember the first time I used it, I was like, I don't think it's working. My wife's like, you're laying on the couch with your foot on the top, and you've watched the same cartoon 3 times. I'm like, I think it's working.
Mom, but the thing about this is, it lets you know what you're putting in your body. This is the game changer. It's basically the QR code right here on the back of the bottle, and you just scan it. You put the code from each separate badge, and it tells you exactly what you are putting in. So there are no secrets, no contaminants that you have to worry about. It's pure, and it's exactly. It speaks for itself. And what I brought you guys here, it's the lavender eucalyptus balm.
Smells nice.
So
okay.
Is this the open one? Yeah.
All right.
It really does. It makes a difference, and it's made a difference for
Smells like that one
for
friend you had
myself.
at high school. You know what I mean? He was like, "Are you carrying?" He's like, "No." Unless you want. No, I'm kidding.
Stop playing with my.
No, it does smell like. It smells like. No, I'm messing with you. I like how you match it. I like how you matched it too. No, you know what it smells like? It smells like a high-end spa.
Okay.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Because eucalyptus to me is like a spa.
It's
thing.
Yeah.
It's smooth. It's good. It really does make a difference.
And for especially players that deal with a lot of injuries, you can imagine that players deal with this stuff all the time, where they're like, oh, like their homie from the hood is like, oh, you injured? Like, you don't need to see a doctor. I know somebody.
Yeah, the hood doctors. Don't do that. You don't need that.
Street pharmacists, if you will.
Need that. And that actually takes away all that
the necessary need
all
for that.
those problems. You know what I mean? It actually could reduce any problems that you could encounter with whatever you're taking, whatever they suggest you take. So I suggest you guys go check out Rewind by Rodney Wallace.
Spelled exactly how you would expect, Rewind. And what I love about this is you have the QR code on the back. As this industry continues to grow, this is almost now considered almost like a byproduct of like the legal weed industry in a lot of places, like California and Colorado. It's like, oh, we have all the CBD, like we have the ability to have all the CBD. You never really sure where you're getting it from. You never know if it's. There was a lot of cafes in New York that were saying like, oh, we got CBD smoothies, and then it turns out they actually weren't putting CBD in there. You know what I mean? So you don't know. You have a QR code. It's like, nah, son, you got. Yeah. Like you check the. Yeah, it goes to the transfer market, like where you guys, like it's the back of your card.
No, like it goes exactly to the facts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The back of the card, like your expected goals, your goals per 90, right? You got it for the CBD.
Yeah, no.
The QR code takes you to MLSsoccer.com.
Matt Doyle breaks down the tactics of each CBD.
This is impressive,
yeah. Bro. Look at the heat map on that one.
When it comes to players and let's say without CBD, what would players do to try to deal with nagging injuries? I can imagine in soccer, I play soccer once a week, occasionally.
And your knees are just
shot. My back, my knees. I'm like, I don't know, am I doing this right? How would outside of like the physios, what would players kind of do to just kind of maintain themselves?
Well, you have to take care of your body. You have to either, whether it's diet, whether it's exercise, whether you're doing Pilates on the side or yoga or whatever it is that you're doing, you have to do it, like I said, for yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just to stay in good form. I think that stepping away from the training facility and all that, at the same time, you have to stay in some sort of shape. You have to stay in a certain routine in order to get those results.
Is there any player or maybe something you did, any routine that was super weird, like the weirdest one you ever heard from like a professional soccer player?
Like, remember when like NFL players started doing ballet?
Oh no!
Because they said it would make you limber? Is there anything you used to do?
No?
I
mean, there's a lot of weird things that I used to do, but we won't get into those. But
you know what? We'll get to that when we get back after this. I also want to say iTunes needs to go because right under our podcast logo is Clean Lyrics, which no, it ain't. Nah, not only do we not have lyrics, ain't nothing clean about it.
We're also inventing words like Drilladelphia.
Drilladelphia. All right. We're back, baby. That's a throwback clip. You were asking me where I got that? I got that in 04. That's right, yo. Macy's Herald Square downstairs. And then Diddy wore it the next day at the NBA dunk contest. And I was like, yo, I got me a good one.
Shots to my old boss.
Yeah, so Diddy must have seen me wearing it while he was shooting up the club with Shine. Anyway.
Allegedly.
So, Rodney. Oh, God, I hope I survive. Whatchamacallit? So, obviously, you're staying in great shape, right? You're talking about this stuff, how that certainly helps you get over injuries. You've had some surgeries and stuff. Do you want to tell us what's going on right now with your career a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about it, obviously you do. No, I went through a pretty hard time last year just in regards of injuries, and I'm in a space right now where I'm recovering from those injuries, so I have to really focus on me right now and take care of what I have to take care of in order to really live a better life in general. I mean, having 2 hip surgeries is not the easiest thing to recover from, but I'm getting there, and it's something that Rewind has been something that has basically opened my eyes to a complete other world. So that's just keeping me busy, and it's motivated. I wouldn't say it's a grind because I'm having fun with it, and Rewind it's running on its own, and I'm doing things naturally, organically, and it's filling me in a different way than the game was filling. It was just filling me up. So it's interesting because now I'm in this predicament. You know, I'm doing the rehab for my hip, but at the same time I'm taking care of this Rewind, and Rewind is really blossoming and taking care of my family and I in many ways. So it's interesting. It's one of those things where I have to think about the big picture, but I am in a great place because I'm able to spend more time at home with my family, and I'm able to get great workouts in and really focus on what I have to do to get back into the shape that I want to get back into. And Rewind has been the ambassador for all that.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. You're smiling in your Instagram photos.
You're chilling. In the best way possible. I wouldn't say like I'm it's not like I'm not doing anything. I'm personally enjoying my life to the fullest.
I'm gonna rub this on my whole body. We'll be right back. We got more. a TV show.
What? What a ridiculous decision.
This has been amazing. What another great show.
So with that said, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerrero.
And what are we?
The Cooligans!
I'm John Strong. I'm Luke Moore.
I'm Meg Linehan.
I just kicked it.
And I got goalie.
And I got that bag.
With the
Cooligans.
Would I say that they showed me the respect that I deserve? No.
We got Gully with the Cooligans.
Get out of here.
Oh, you
Hey! Oh my God! I'm gonna cry in front of Rodney Wallace.
Oh my God. What a pizza there. I'm gonna rub some rewind on these ducks.
I didn't expect to get so sensitive in front of an MLS Cup champion.
By the way, happy 6 months.
Thank you
man.
so much.
50th episode.
Yeah,
That's
second
awesome.
trimester.
And we haven't been aborted yet.
We didn't even realize it was the 50th episode. Exciting stuff. Thank you,
That's incredible.
everybody
Thank you,
at Fubo Sports for putting this together. Yeah, man, what a fun way to wrap a show.
Yeah, but we still got a little bit of time. We obviously got Rodney Wallace. How's it feel to be with people who got 50 episodes? No, I'm joking.
6 months in, you guys look good. You're in
Yeah,
shape. Nah,
we did. I did lose a little weight since that first episode too. Thank God. You know what I mean? Because once I saw me on camera sitting on the couch, I was like, oh no. Camera had 10 pounds. They got special cameras here though, that add apparently 50 to 60. Is from what I think. Maybe we should get those compression lenses. At least for the one that just goes directly to me.
No, I'm glad we were. I'm glad we made it this far. I'm glad we were able to be joined by Rodney Wallace. Make sure you check out Rewind and pick some up. www.rewindbyrodneywallace.com.
That's right.
And pick up some CBD.
Check it out,
That's
man.
right.
Check it out.
And
Better
world record
yourself.
holder for longest URL. That's pretty good. Rewind by RodneyWallace.com. You didn't want to put your middle name in there?
I don't think government status in there.
Just let your other soccer friends know we're gonna roast them if they come on the show as well.
Yeah, they got a little light roast. Light roast.
But we're here to have a good time. So yeah, Rodney, thank you again for joining us,
thank
man.
you guys.
I hope you had a good
I
time
had a
as well.
blast with you guys.
Where does this sit? Playing for your national team and scoring on your debut and being on this show. Which did we bump them yet?
I mean, the fact that I'm here on the 6-month anniversary, 50th episode, it's up there. I mean, it's pretty special. Let's go.
I'll take it.
So yes, make sure you follow Rodney on social media. Follow us at Soccer Cooligans. Follow Fubo Sports.
Leave a
Subscribe
5-star review
to the YouTube channel. Yes, and leave a review on iTunes. So with that said, for Rodney Wallace, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cool!